So, the past couple months, we have been going through a little situation. We had an experience that was challenging, and we want to share what that was and how we've grown and what we've learned from it. We think that it could definitely help some people out there. So, that's what we're going to talk about in today's podcast. It's nothing like crazy. It happens to a lot of people, but it's the first time it's happened to us, and we want to talk about it. So stay tuned if you're interested to hear what happened.
I love the suspense
Yeah.
you're making here.
So do you want to, you're the storyteller. You can start with the story.
Right? Um
We don't want to share names. We're not going to share names. We can just share general information.
yeah, general information. So we started a project at our house.
Yeah, as many of you know, we had this project
hmm
going on. We're talking about it in our podcast.
Yeah, yeah. We It was challenging just because of, you know, doing a project.
Living in the, yeah, construction zone is never a good idea.
Oh my gosh. No. If you have the chance to do all the construction before you move in, do that first because it is absolutely not ideal at all. If you don't, well,
Sometimes you don't, and
yeah,
we couldn't. So
yeah, we couldn't.
yeah,
We did a part of it, but the other part we
yeah,
needed to be here for. So, good thing we were here for, though. I'm gonna be entirely honest with that because
mm-hmm,
we wouldn't have been here. That project would still be half
yeah.
done.
Who knows what would happen?
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
we weren't thinking. So yeah, the project that we're talking about is we decided to get our windows and siding replaced much sooner than we initially said we were going to because we realized how shitty our windows really were. Like we couldn't even open them; they had mold in them.
they were whistling, like the wind would blow
Mm-hmm.
and you would hear a whistle, like for real. It was insane.
Yeah, it was. It was just it needed to be dealt with, and we were like, "It'll be so nice. Let's just get it done." And then next spring we'll be able to open up our windows and stuff. And
Yeah, and then we decided to add the siding to that too.
which like you kind of have to if you're getting your windows replaced, then it's like, and your siding also needs to be replaced. Then we better just do it all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks amazing.
Hmm.
So that's a good part.
Yeah.
And
So
it's done.
so I guess I'll tell
But
the story because there needs to be some backstory. Like I found this contractor recommended on Facebook. And so we had used him for a couple other small jobs.
yeah, for other clients of ours when before they put their properties on the market and then like some issues that arise after they bought too. So it was something, we were kind of testing him and having
Hmm.
conversations about different things. And
He seemed like a good person and like he was trustworthy and everything. And then like as time went on, so Marcos and him were talking a lot about doing business together and like maybe doing a flip here and there and some things
yeah,
like that. And like I started to see how this person had no integrity, never did what he said he was going to do, is never on time, never would even forget when he would make appointments, and was just these little things that showed me that he was not trustworthy.
well, and also that what you said, when somebody shows you who they are,
The
believe
first time,
them.
believe them. Yeah. Yeah. And so I stopped having respect for him after that happened so many times. And we were kind of to the point where we're like, well, I guess we'll give it a try. Like I was like, I'm not gonna go into business, do any business with him, but if we want to try on our own property, let's see what happens. And I didn't have a good feeling about what was gonna happen, but I was just like, let's just see what happens. So
Yeah. And well, I think that it's worth saying that one of the reasons why we decided to give him a second chance too is because I was blinded by um, future business that he
mm-hmm.
would bring when it came to purchasing properties, investing, and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
when well, maybe the first thing that I'm gonna say here,
Mm-hmm.
when you're making decisions based on not your intuition, not even
Mm-hmm.
your intuition, but like what's right in front of you, the red flags that you're seeing, and you only have money signs in your eyes,
Yep.
type thing. Like you're only thinking about the next commission or the next payment or the next business venture.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a good way to make decisions, especially when it comes to big projects.
Yeah, and it's like it's that lack, sort of that lack mindset that it kind of is like hidden because it doesn't seem like it, but it truly is because when you think nobody better is going to come along or like that there's only a limited number of people there to do business with, then you don't you don't like attract and align with the people that are actually going to be good to do business with.
Yeah, that you're gonna be a match with.
Yeah.
So some people you have to let go, some people you have to stay with. But if what I was experiencing, I think also with this person and maybe other people too, I was just, I don't know if this is the exact word, but I felt I was clinging to that idea. I was like
Mm-hmm.
holding tight to, okay, like I have this client and like I need to keep with that client because like
Yeah.
I spent all this time and I
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
built rapport and like we have a relationship, a friendship, and like all these things and like you spend
Yes.
you I invested a lot.
Yes, you did. I say you wasted a lot because I like try to tell you all the time, like, what are you doing? But we can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I think that's common for realtors as well in the real estate business because you do put so much time into leads or like prospective clients that like it's really hard to not try to make it into something into business because or it's really hard to let it go when it's not working out because you basically wasted so much time.
yeah. What is a little bit more time?
Yeah.
Maybe this time.
Yeah, maybe this time they'll do what they say. Maybe this
Yeah.
time they are going
So
to buy
in
it. I don't
that, I
know.
think it's not only for realtors. I mean, it is big with realtors because basically it's what we do. It's a 100% a relationship business. You're gonna do business with people that you get along with people that you're almost friends with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I that's the way it is.
Whoops. If you heard that, that's our daughter and the baby monitor coughing.
Yeah,
Um,
and but it happens in any sales position too.
yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
depends on the person a lot. I tend to do business
Oops.
a little bit more personal. I don't know how to say it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the way I am. And um, again, in the real estate, it gets personal. Buying a house is a personal decision,
Mm-hmm.
so you're gonna go with somebody that actually understands what you're
Yeah.
looking for, and that's what we do with Minagra Homes.
Yeah.
So it does make sense.
And you want to trust somebody.
Mhm.
especially when they seem trustworthy. But
Well, and also what happens is that I am trying to develop that intuition
mhm,
too, which sometimes I tend to take people, um, what do you call it, at their face value.
yeah,
I, which is not wrong, but it
hmm,
is something that could be risky
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Intuition and business don't really like we haven't been taught to use our intuition when it comes to business, but they really do need to be mixed together. Um, so we can continue with the story. Basically, we started the project on November 27th, and we were told it was going to take 2 weeks.
Well, that
Of course,
wasn't,
did not happen.
no.
Um,
It lasted 5 weeks, and they still need to come back in spring to do some more work that can't be done
that
due
was
to cold weather.
well, and that was done wrong.
Yeah.
So they didn't. Luckily, they really didn't. This wasn't an issue of the work being done poorly. Luckily, there was only a couple things that went wrong that were done poorly, um, because the contractor was never here, and we so we asked for a bid up front. Of course, we didn't get it, and we kept asking for it and asking for it, and we needed to know an estimate how much line by line. And so we started being like, what the heck? And this contractor before, he would be very wishy washy with pricing and be like, oh, just pay me what you want. And like, had no boundaries when it came to his pricing. And
Yeah.
that was new for us. We're like, what the heck? This is like, it's very awkward.
To the point that in the middle of the project, he just said, "Pay me what you want," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?
Like,
What do
what do you
you
mean? This is a
mean?"
huge project. What do you mean
Yeah.
pay you what we want? Like, so you're
I.
making it our responsibility to figure out your pricing. And then he gave Marcos an estimate on a napkin. It was like a number written
No, on a
on a
cardboard.
cardboard box.
Yeah.
Yeah. With no it had no line by line like breakdown. It was just a number on a box. And
Yeah.
so Marcos brought that number to a licensed we so this person that we were working with is not licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcos took that number, and we had met a licensed contractor like a couple months before this or something. You met him in Menton. Yeah.
Yeah. Networking.
So we had him double check, like, hey, what would you charge for this project? And he said, he did all his numbers, and he said, I would charge the same thing. Like, that doesn't make sense that this person's unlicensed charging you that. And on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
he was never here. He was probably here like 3 times out of the whole project and was not delegating anything. He was not being a contractor,
He was not communicating.
not communicating ever. We had no idea what was going on. And so we
People
basically,
had no idea what was going on
yeah,
that we're working in our project.
yeah,
So I had to make sure every morning, like I would, it was cold, so I felt bad for the people working. So every morning I would make coffee. And through conversation, that's how would figure out that they didn't basically, it's not that they didn't know what to do. I mean, they're here to do the siding, they're going to do the siding, but the um the plan.
yeah, there's a lot of planning that needs to go into like
Yeah.
which side are you going to do first? What, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a bunch of different things that the general contractor is supposed to help with and be here on the job site, making sure it's done right.
Correct. And show up. I mean,
Yeah.
most contractors that we've worked with in the past, they are either at the job site for at least a few hours, sometimes even the whole day, or they show up and make sure that people are showing up.
Yeah.
Or, they,
They just have a general energy of a leader and a person who is at the top of the project, obviously delegating what needs to be done.
Yeah. So first big red flag, no boundaries around money. The second big red flag, nothing in writing.
Nothing was ever written. He never even sent us a contract to sign. Never sent us anything. So that was our bad too for not like that was the thing. We're blindly trusting somebody who we thought was trustworthy, but then there were all these red flags of like never does what he says, has no integrity, like talks he would talk all this stuff about how he's going to invest in real estate and I have this much money and let's do this together and stuff and just a lot of talk.
Yeah, but when it came to the time to pull the trigger, every time there was always an excuse to not do it too.
Always an excuse. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and those are things that are sometimes hard to see when you're in the middle of it, but you need to get better at it because those are significant red flags. Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we also changed the way we do business too. So, well, not because of that, but seeing people doing that type of thing over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So then it is responsibility on our part too, because
Mm-hmm.
yes, we trusted a person, um, and we didn't do what we usually do with other projects. So
Mm-hmm.
it is, it was also a timing thing. We trusted this person. By the time that it was time to start the project, we're in Minnesota, so
Yeah.
doing work outside is very time limited, especially when you're starting on like after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day. So
Well, and like, so we ordered all the materials and picked up all the materials and stuff, and there was just so many things that weren't communicated. We almost didn't have enough siding. Like, they literally had like one piece left or something, didn't you say?
yeah, like a 2 feet
Yeah.
piece left of siding. That's all that actually was left
Yeah, because
there.
they forgot to measure for
Leftovers, like you
the
always have to
waste
add a
or
ten
whatever.
percent
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
to the to what you're gonna order because there's gonna be something's gonna go wrong. Something you're gonna cut too much, or
Yeah.
maybe a little measurement.
You get that. Cat is playing with a balloon. Oh my gosh. We come down to the basement to try to avoid this.
Yeah, and we still get interrupted. Like this
Yep.
is
This
amazing.
doesn't matter. I've been thinking about throwing that balloon away for a long time. It's a balloon from our daughter's birthday, and I just feel bad, because like kids, they just love that stuff. But anyway, um,
So it is our responsibility too.
right, and that's what we wanted to talk about
Yes.
in the end. I mean, to finish off the story, um, so we pushed them very hard to get the work done because otherwise we knew it wasn't going to get done because this person was so
Well, the typical thing,
wishy-washy and
like we ended up even doing work ourselves, like modding and painting and like
yeah.
things like that weren't supposed to, that we weren't supposed to do
Yeah,
on
because
top
he
of
would say, "Oh,
managing.
I'll come back and do it tomorrow, and this is what we're going to do tomorrow." And then we knew we couldn't count on him to do what he said, and so
Yeah.
he wouldn't do it. And then I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna like this is something I know how to do, so it's not perfect, but just gonna do it, like
Yeah.
because otherwise it's gonna sit like that for another 5 days."
Well, and who knows for how long, right?
Yeah,
It is,
and we had to be very annoyingly like repeating all the time, "You need to do this. You need to do this," and so we ended up being the project manager, which we were supposedly paying somebody else to be doing that.
mhm.
Um, if he's charging us the same amount as a regular general contractor, licensed general contractor, then
Well, and that's the other part too. He was charging us the same thing with much less service. Like, of course, the general contracting wasn't there because,
right,
like, the
wasn't
only
there at
like
all.
is the same thing if he would have referred me to those people, and then I would have told them what to do because that's
Yes,
exactly I was the
it really was.
I
Yeah,
was the project manager there.
yeah. yeah, so we lost a lot of time managing this project, and it was just like very frustrating, and a lot of anger was like it was bringing up a lot of feelings and a lot of like it caused us problems in our relationship, and like it was just like a very challenging time overall. But
Mm-hmm.
we finally have, I mean, the project got done. We pushed the project to get done. It got done mostly. They have to come back and do some caulking on the exterior because the wrong type of caulk was, we were told to buy the wrong type of caulk, and it just basically washed away when it rained. And so yeah, but there's a couple other things that we're probably not going to talk about, but
I think that we
basically,
said too much already.
well, you think so?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think it just is good for people, I don't know, to know our experience with
Yeah,
this. And there's not that many people that listen anyway.
yeah, no,
But the moral of the story is there's going to be things that happen to you that like bring up a lot of emotion, and like these things that have probably been, when we think about it, these have been reoccurring experiences. Like it was sort of a culmination. Like this is not the first time we've experienced this type of emotion of just like being irritated and frustrated because we're always having to take over and do it ourselves. And so I feel like we have to take responsibility that our beliefs are playing this out for us in some
correct.
way. And so why did this happen? Because we're unaware, we were unconscious to some subconscious beliefs there that we needed to be shown in a big way, like you need to like bring light to this. So it really helped us do that, and in a way that is the blessing, like that's the silver lining of it, is that we've taken some big lessons out of this. So do you want to talk about,
The
yeah,
lessons.
the lessons?
Well, for me, it was mostly about boundaries.
Yeah.
Um, it is hard to put boundaries, but you have to do it. And the reason why all this happened is it started because of a lack of boundaries
Yes.
on my part, on this other person's part.
Mm-hmm.
Like since there was no boundaries, everything was mixed up. There isn't a
Yeah.
clear idea. There isn't a clear um, cut or where something starts and something ends.
Yeah.
So we would pay all this money and end up doing the work too. And it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the first thing. And then asking, boundaries also goes to asking for things and not demanding, but making sure that it's like, you better do this.
Yeah, it's like a child, like when you're like, you ask them to do something and they don't do it, and you're like, well, then you can't have this, and then you give it to them anyway or something, and like
Correct.
that's not a that they're not gonna learn anything. And when you don't set boundaries, you aren't respected. This is like this nice guy thing we listened to yesterday, and
Yeah.
it's like when you do not set, you don't have to be mean about setting boundaries. You need to be firm with your boundaries. This is what I will and will not tolerate from you. And then when you set that firmly, you get respect from the other side. Usually, but I don't know.
Yeah. And the other side knows that up to what point can push, and up to one point you're gonna allow them that way,
Right.
because it's all about you allowing
Hmm.
or setting up a boundary.
Yeah, it's like, what will you allow? And that's what the theme was from Lee Harris, this guy I listened to. He said that the like December theme was what will you allow? And
Yeah.
that's crazy that that happened to us in that just that time. And maybe other people went through similar things because I think it's very common that people, especially in Minnesota,
Hmm.
we have no clear boundaries and we're trying to be nice all the time. But it's like we have to stop doing that because we're making our life so much harder. We're getting ourselves into situations that get really sticky and they really affect our well being.
And it affects our energy too. If you don't have
Yeah.
boundaries, other people's energies are constantly getting in your
Yeah. Because you're always
realm.
looking for validation and wondering, oh, what the other person is thinking.
Yeah, yeah. Trying
Mm-hmm.
to not to create conflict, or
Mm-hmm.
try to keep the peace, or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It can become this ball where, like, in the end, you don't feel good at all, and it's all pointless, really.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of friction when you set a boundary could solve a snowball effect
Yeah.
of issues and problems. That is not only going to affect you and the other party, but it would affect also people around you.
Yeah. For example, the other subcontractors.
Well, yeah, I mean, I solved that luckily, but
Yeah. Yeah. So the boundaries, it was the biggest thing. And so from now on, we are going to be both setting firm boundaries and not just in business, but I think it's just important in everything in your life.
I think also what happened is that with this specific case, we mixed business and relationship a lot.
Yeah.
So the it almost feels like there weren't any boundaries to start with.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was way too much trust
Yeah,
where there shouldn't have been. So, but like that's the thing though, is like reflecting now that we're through it and like we've really changed for the better and learned a lot from the situation. I feel like almost grateful for the situation. Like it was meant to happen because it kind of like brought us to the next level now. Like, I don't know.
I think it brought up so many emotions,
Yeah.
and we were able to. I don't know if it is integrating shadows, or also like kind of facing some demons that we had, and um, almost put a not a stop, but like actually understanding a lot of problems that we were carrying throughout our
Yeah.
relationship and our lives.
Yeah, which mostly were due to this boundary setting issue. And also, I think what goes along with that is realizing that you are not a victim. Like when something like this happens to you, sure, it might like it's necessary to go through those emotions of anger and like just whatever it makes you feel is totally fine. And then after you kind of move through that, then you can start thinking, why did I why did this manifest in my reality?
Yeah,
What is it within me that's allowing this to happen? And what like reoccurring beliefs do I have that is that this is showing up in my experience? and then realizing that you're not a victim. Someone isn't doing this to you. It's happening because you kind of
Put
brought it,
yourself
put
in that
yourself in a
situation.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Doesn't mean what the
responsibility,
other person did is right, obviously,
but
but
you're allowing it.
yeah,
And that's what happens. Um, it is something that you attract, and if you attract it and you don't like it, but you still allow it, then
yeah,
it's not about blaming yourself either. It's about
no,
taking the responsibility to make sure that you understand
exactly, yeah.
and not repeat
Now
the
repeat
same
it
thing.
again, yeah, yeah, and then also understanding, like, I don't know, I was listening to this podcast today about forgiveness. There's this like Ho'oponopono, I don't know how they pronounce it. It's like, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, or something. Um, because, ultimately we're all connected, and it's very hard in situations like this to like to the other person, like,
Forgive.
forgive them and stuff. But then once you do kind of get to the other side and be like, okay, like, we're all just like playing these roles in each other's lives, and I don't know, maybe in a past life we did something to this person, or like it
Vice
just,
versa.
yeah, I don't know. It's all balanced in some way, and it is easier when you get through it to just like understand that whatever that person is doing, like, they're doing the best that they can with what they have and know. So I don't know why he's like that, but
And
he's
there,
doing it for some reason.
well, when you encounter whatever situation, we encounter this specific situation, but when you encounter a situation that you don't like, for example, in our case, we were both attracting the experience that we got from this,
Yeah.
both sides. We were both attracting that into our reality.
Yeah.
Because as much as we attracted somebody like that, that person attracted somebody like us.
Yes.
And the
Hmm.
situation and what happened is a creation, is a manifestation of the beliefs that we all had
Yes.
and brought us together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good way to look at it. Yeah, and in a way we both needed each other, like I said, to like kind of step up to the next level. It depends on how you take the lesson. Are you going to like take it, are you just going to be like, "Oh, I'm a victim," and then, "Oh, I just never want this to happen to me again," and then don't learn from it? I don't know what the other person on the other side is doing, but maybe he's taken it as a lesson as well and is like one going to the next level in his life. Who knows?
Correct. I mean, I hope so. Like
Yeah.
that's the purpose of anything that happens to you,
Yeah.
good or bad. Take it as a lesson, especially the bad things, because it's always easy to kind of be like, oh, this good thing happened to me. I'm,
Hmm.
I learned from it too. When something bad happens to you, and you really need to kind of dive into painful feelings, or
Your own shadow. Yeah.
that's the part where you need to make sure that you're understanding the message that the universe is trying to give you,
Hmm.
because you could be wrong too in what you're thinking, and like you really need to sit with it, and it's extremely hard to sit with painful feelings.
Yeah.
Nobody likes pain.
No. Yeah, so I feel like that's pretty much it. Like, those are the things that we learned, and we are feeling much better now.
Yeah, going through this, it's kind of funny because it helps you.
It
The
does.
energy feels like it has risen.
Yeah. Like our vibration.
Yes.
Hmm.
Our connection as a couple to
Yeah.
our boundaries, I feel like we're gonna be able to identify better this as business people and
Yeah.
identify what's actually truth from people that are
Hmm.
seeking whatever service we're offering and what is not. It's just I've been doing real estate for 10 years and I'm still learning.
Yeah. Not only that, I am happy now that we went through the experience so that we can now tell our clients if they're using a contractor or if we recommend a contractor, you got to make sure you get this, this, and this, and
Hmm.
look for these red flags and stuff like that. So it's all good.
Yeah, you gotta when their situation is telling you to wake up,
Yeah.
you gotta listen. You gotta wake up to it, and you gotta. The phrase is "man up,"
Man up. Yeah.
but it's basically it's face the fact that in order to get out of a sticky situation, you're gonna need to go through a lot of friction and
Tension.
tension.
Yeah, and I think also something that helped us is we had our coach to be able to talk to throughout this whole thing, and so that really helped us because it's good to have, um, like you said, that neutral person. We were talking about this the other day, like that neutral person there that can help you become more aware of yourself and the situation and everything. So,
Yeah, we're super thankful for her.
yeah,
And it is that it's just trying to grow and being okay with it, being okay, forgiving yourself for making a mistake.
yeah,
It is okay to make mistakes.
hmm,
Learn from it and be aware next time, and try to be more aware. You may make the same mistake again, maybe, but a little bit less.
yeah,
Maybe it's not the exact same, but it's kind of related, and it's like, oh, now I see it from another point of view,
yeah,
right? Like imagine you have a cube. So you have one face, you learn that face, and it's like, okay, when you see that face, okay, yeah, I already know that.
hmm,
But then suddenly the cube rotates and you see a different face, and you just are like,
hmm.
oh, hi, how are you? Yeah, let's do it. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
we were tested with more than one person with boundaries,
mm-hmm.
in the past, I would say, month and a half.
About
So,
two, yeah.
yeah, it was kind of like we were going through some type of like initiation or something.
Right? Yeah, and it's good. It's good because if you look at mythology, for example, Hercules had to go through tests. Odysseus, and like there's so many examples of how you get better through struggling.
Yeah.
That's what pushes you to get better, to solve issues, to solve problems. That's
Hmm.
what makes you a problem solver. That's what makes you deal with things that arise from yourself. Because all those feelings, all those um, problems we had,
Hmm.
where be, that situation was being
This is a
used
mirror.
as a mirror
Yeah.
for what we needed to deal with.
Yep. 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 So
And it
man
can,
up
yeah,
and deal with it. And we did.
yeah, and it feels good.
Yeah, it does. You feel powerful when
Hmm.
you can kind of alchemize that all of that into something, turn it into gold. um anyway, thank you for listening, whoever is listening out there. We're coming to, 40 minutes just passed.
And look at that.
Um, Let us know what things have popped up in your life in the past if you've had similar experiences, because I feel like there's a lot of this energy going around on the planet right now. Um,
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing.
yeah, are we
Like,
the only ones that, or is this kind of like a reoccurring experience for everybody? And
if you're
what have you
listening,
learned?
if you're listening in YouTube, leave a comment, or you can always
Yeah,
send us an email and tell
send us
us.
an email message, whatever.
It's always nice to see if someone out there is actually sharing some lessons or experiences with you, and it creates a sense of community.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week, and we hope everybody has a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.